Unit 1. A Journey to Adventure. Pre-reading questions. Who said these words? Circle the answer. 1. I hope we have a great weekend. Lucy Robert. 2. It's always good fun at Grandad's. Lucy Robert. 3. Hello, Robert. Come in. Grandfather Mrs. Green. 4. I've hurt my ankle. Grandfather Mrs. Green. 5. What's special about it? Robert Grandfather. 6. You put in the date you want to visit. Robert Grandfather.
Escape from the fire. Chapter 1, Grandad. Robert was excited. He was going to stay with his grandfather at the weekend. Lucy, his cousin, was going to stay too. She was the same age as Robert and they were good friends. While Robert was packing his bag, the telephone rang noisily. Robert answered it. It was Lucy. I hope we have a great weekend, said Lucy. So do I, said Robert. It's always good fun at Grandad's. While Robert was traveling on the bus, he thought about Grandad. There were two things about him that Robert and Lucy really liked. First, he was very, very clever. He was an inventor. He invented lots of things, but mostly he invented new kinds of mobile phones. The other thing they liked was that Grandad loved history. His house was full of history books. When Robert and Lucy came to stay, Grandad told them exciting stories from history. The cousins loved the stories because they were true. They loved Grandad's tales of explorers who used to sail across the oceans and travel across deserts to distant lands. Robert knocked on Grandad's door. Mrs. Green, the maid, opened it. Hello, Robert, she said. Come in. Hello, Mrs. Green, Robert said. How are you? I am fine, said Mrs. Green. She took his bag from him. Your grandfather is in his study. Robert hurried into Grandad's study. Hello, Grandad, he began. Then he stopped in surprise. Grandad was sitting in an armchair. There was a big bandage on his foot. Grandad, what happened? Robert asked. I've hurt my ankle, Grandad said. The doctor says I mustn't walk on it for a few days. Poor Grandad. Does it hurt? I'll help you, and so will Lucy. Where is she? Has she arrived yet? Grandad looked worried. I am not sure, he said. I think she has disappeared. Disappeared, said Robert. What do you mean? Grandad leaned towards him and whispered, I think she has traveled back in time. Chapter 2, The Time Travel Phones. Robert looked at Grandad, amazed. How could Lucy have traveled back in time, he asked. Grandad showed him a mobile phone. Look at this, he said. This is not an ordinary phone. This is my newest invention. Robert thought the mobile phone looked ordinary. What's special about it? He asked. Do you promise not to tell anyone? Not even Lucy. Lucy knows already. Not even Mum and Dad. I'll tell them soon. Okay. So what does it do? Asked Robert. With this mobile phone you can travel back in time. Well, Robert exclaimed. "Can you really do that?" Grandad nodded proudly. "I've worked on this invention for 2 years," he said. "It's ready now." Robert's eyes widened. "How does it work?" "Let me show you." You put in the date you want to visit. Then you put in the place you want to visit. Then you put in the password, adventure. Did you tell Lucy this? Yes. And now one of the time travel phones is missing. How many time travel phones have you made? Robert asked. 4. Grandad shook his head. I'm worried, Robert. I think Lucy has used the missing phone to travel back in time. Where? Robert exclaimed. Where do you think she has gone? Talk about the answers to these questions. 1. Do you think Grandad is an interesting person? Why or why not? 2. Do you think time travel could be good fun or too dangerous? Why? 3. Look at the title of the story again. Do you know about any big fires? Where might Lucy have gone?
Listen and read. Molly, do you remember when you were little? Sam, yes, of course. I used to go to my grandmother's house every day. Molly, really? Why? Sam, because she used to look after me while Mum was at work. Molly, did you like going to her house? Sam, it was great. Grandma used to read stories and sing songs. And we used to make cakes together, too. Molly, that sounds nice. Sam, yes, it was. Listen and say. Time machine, take me away. Take me somewhere exciting today. Show me the world of long ago, when mammoths walked through ice and snow. Show me the pyramids rising high into the ancient Egyptian sky. Show me adventurers brave and bold, sailing the seas for Aztec gold. Time machine, take me away. Take me somewhere exciting today. Adventure. Adventurers. Age. Already. Amazed. Ancient. Ankle. Armchair. Aztec. Bandage. Beginning. Brave. Chapter. Made. Mammoths. Mean. Missing. Mostly. Nodded. Noisily. Oceans. Ordinary. Packing. Password. Poor. Promise. Clever. Cousin. Dangerous. Date. Deserts. Disappeared. Distant. Escape. Event. Excited. Exciting. Exclaimed. Explorers. Express. Proudly. Pyramids. Ready. Really. Ring. Sail across. same, save, sentence, setting, shake, shook, showed, snow. Fires, granddad, great, history, hurt, invention, inventor, kind, knocked, leaned, machine, sounds, special, spend, surprise, take place, tales, true, weekend, whispered, widened, worried,